over a little bit of review on how to find x and y-intercepts. Remember, all an x-intercept is where you intercept the x-axis. Like, where does it hit the x-axis? And a y-intercept is where does it hit the y-axis. So like in this graph, it's pretty clear. 1 is the y-intercept, because that's where it hits the y-axis, and -1 is the x-intercept, because that's where it hits the x-axis. You can find this with an equation by plugging in zeros. What I mean by that is, you're going to hit the y-axis when x is 0. Because you see how, like, as I'm going along the x-axis, whenever it's 0, that's where I hit the y-axis. So like this is the point 0, 1. X is 0, but the y-intercept is 1. So if I want to find the y-intercept, I can just plug in 0 for x, and 0 plus 1 gives me the y-intercept, which is 1. If you want to find the x-intercept, it's the opposite. So if you plugged in 0 for y, wherever y is 0, it happens here, right on the x-axis. So let's see if that works. If I put in 0 for y, what is x? Subtract 1 from both sides. It's -1. So that's the x-intercept. And then I also want to show you on tables, it's the same thing. When x is 0, that gives you a y-intercept. That's because that's a y value. When y is 0, that gives you an x-intercept because it's an x value. Same thing here. Think about, is this an x or a y-intercept? This is a y-intercept because x is 0, y is 3. So think about where that point would be. The point 0, 3 is right here on the y-axis. Also, there was another intercept. Notice that somewhere between here, I hit 0. I went from -1 to 1. So somewhere right in between here, there was an intercept. So somewhere between -4 and 2, there was an x-intercept. Like if you graph those points, -1, -4, and -2, -2, 1. I messed up, sorry. -4, -1, and -2, +1. There we go. Do you see how right in between here, I hit the x-axis? Because it went from -1 to +1. So there was actually an intercept at -3 there. You just couldn't really see it in the table.